Hi, this is Sophia and welcome to Philosophy with Sophia. So just a heads up, this video is probably going to be a little bit of a mess because I'm not really scripting this or structuring it or anything. Because today I want to talk about Nietzsche and I kind of just want to I guess you would say ramble about him. Because I know a lot about Nietzsche, but it's all weird random things about him. I don't know when or where he was born or anything like that. I just know things about his philosophy and he's one of my favorite philosophers, so I just wanted to sort of talk about what I know about him and why I like him and why some other people don't like him and, things like that. Anyways, now that the introduction and disclaimer-y thing is out of the way, on to Nietzsche. So I talked about Nietzsche in one of my other videos, the one about existentialism and absurdism, because he was an existentialist. And he is a German philosopher. I think he was alive in sometime in the 1900s, which is a very broad range. It was before World War II though, I know that, but I can't remember if it was before World War I, II, or, something like that. It was he died before World War II, so before that. And as I said previously, he's an existentialist. I think one of his most interesting philosophies is the idea of the Übermensch, which approximately translated means overman. And I guess this philosophy can probably be interpreted in different ways, because I know that people do interpret it differently, or well, people interpret it differently from how I interpret it. But maybe that's just because I don't know enough about it or something. But basically the idea is that there's ordinary people, and then there's the Übermensch, who is basically the greatest person, I think. Well, not I think. He is the greatest person, but more in someone who's risen above how normal people act and stuff like that. Okay, that's not a very good explanation. It's someone who has sort of transcended reality and become the greatest you can possibly be. And for some people, this means Nietzsche thought there was one person who was going to be superior to everyone else and only certain people could be an Übermensch, and sort of saying that some people were just naturally superior to others. But how I think of it is more everyone should strive to become the Übermensch. That sounds really strange, but that's what he called it. So everyone should strive to become the best they can be and transcend their normal life and become the overman, basically. And well, no one knows what Nietzsche actually meant because his philosophies are sort of a little bit unclear. So who knows how Nietzsche meant it when he said it, but that's how I see it. That's how I interpret it. He didn't like Kantian ethics. He thought they didn't make that much sense. And I agree that they're kind of strange. Kantian ethics are a little bit utilitarian, but Kant, an interesting person. Anyway. I don't know, that's the most thing I know about the Übermensch. He wrote some books too. He wrote one called Thus Spoke Zarathustra, or Thus Spake Zarathustra. Zarathustra? Don't even know how to pronounce that. Which also coincidentally is the title of the theme for 2001: A Space Odyssey. A random connection, but yeah, there you go. Let me just read this book real quick. I think he was friends with Wagner at some point, but then they kind of you know how it happens. I mean, because Kant is kind of where the do unto others as they would do unto you came from, and Nietzsche thought that was stupid. That it's just kind of a thing people say, but no one actually knows what it means. They're just oh yeah, it makes sense, that's right. But I mean, okay, because I kind of agree that you should do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but within reason. If someone's horrible. You're not going to be nice to them. That's silly. And that's basically what Kant is saying. Oh yeah, Nietzsche also didn't believe in religion. He's the one who said God is dead. Because his ideas about morality and stuff didn't rely on gods. And basically, with his philosophy, you didn't really need a god. So he was saying, like, God is dead now. There's no need for him. This obviously doesn't reflect what I think about religion, or obviously, when I say obviously, just like this doesn't reflect what about religion. I'm not saying that religion doesn't exist or anything. I'm just saying that's what Nietzsche was saying. You get me? Nietzsche also really hated Germany. He thought everyone was kind of, well, I mean, I wouldn't say he really hated it, but he didn't like Germany that much, and he criticized a lot of German culture and stuff. Which is kind of ironic. Yeah, and he talked a lot about nihilism. I think I talked about that too. That he thought it was a thing, but that he didn't really actually, he wasn't a nihilist. I'm sure he had nihilistic thoughts sometimes, because we all do, but he didn't really, you know. I mean, people call him a nihilistic existentialist, but I really just think he's a existentialist. And like, he had some life problems, like he was lonely sometimes and stuff, which would make anyone think nihilistic thoughts, but I don't really think that at heart he was a nihilist. One of my favorite stories of him is like right before his death, when he like was deemed insane, he saw someone, like a coachman person, whipping an old horse, and he like had a breakdown, and because he was like, wow, that's really rude. And like, me too, Nietzsche, me too. Actually, that was 12 years before he died, but you know, 12 years compared to your whole entire life is kind of short, so. He basically went kind of crazy at the end of his life, and his sister took care of him, and she also interpreted some of his philosophies like herself. So some of things that were published then, we don't actually know if that's what Nietzsche actually thought, because his sister was like interpreting them for him, and she had different views, obviously. And it's really kind of ironic because Nietzsche, for one, criticized Germany a lot and Germans. For two, was violently opposed to racism and anti-Semitism, especially anti-Semitism. He talked about a lot about how much he hated it, and that you shouldn't judge someone on their race or like their background, but on their actions. And Hitler took his philosophies and he like said he liked Nietzsche and was like, oh yeah, I'm the Superman and stuff, but he didn't even like a lot of people are like, oh, but Hitler like supported Nietzsche's philosophies, so that means that Nietzsche wasn't a good philosopher. But like so some people don't like him because of that, and I've had on occasion I've said like, oh, I really like Nietzsche, and people are like, but Hitler liked him, like he's probably a bad person. But Nietzsche was really opposed to anti-Semitism and racism and all of that stuff, so he didn't actually believe in any of that, and Hitler just kind of took the part about the Übermensch and like adopted that because he wanted to be seen as an the Übermensch, and it sort of supported his views, but the rest of Nietzsche's philosophy didn't really support that. So like, Nietzsche wasn't actually a Nazi or anything. He died before that, and he wouldn't have been even then because he was opposed to anti-Semitism. Anyways, that just annoys me because people like don't get that. It happened with a lot of things, like Hitler, artists that Hitler liked and stuff, people stopped liking. So for a long time, like, no one paid attention to Nietzsche because they were like, oh, that's the Hitler philosopher. But anyways, rant over. I really like Nietzsche. He's one of my favorite philosophers, and I encourage you to find out more about him if you want, because I really didn't go that in depth into anything, and this was basically just me rambling a lot. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.